Fashion Tech Pitch Night organized by the Startup Club. So if you want, you can leave your contact details in the chat to network with the other attendants. You can maybe write a short bio or a LinkedIn link or your company website. I leave it up to you. So in a moment, I will be sharing the link to the decks so everyone can have a look at it. And yeah, you can just use the general chat for interaction with each other and to ask questions to the participants. So yeah, I would like to welcome the pitching startups. We have 4 startups tonight, and also warm welcome to the 4 board members and to all the general attendees. And my name is Mathilde Vade, and I'm the pitch night host, and I also host investment conferences, and I'm also leading the fundraising service at the Startup Club. So yes, so tonight I'm happy to introduce you to 4 startups. The first one of the evening will be YOLOgram. The YOLOgram app styles branded apparel on photorealistic avatars, and it will be presented by Aditya Mani. The second startup will be the Hamptons shop, the affordable luxury sportswear and accessories that reflect the desirable Hamptons lifestyle. This company will be presented by Richard Di Donato. The third startup is MakersValley, an online B2B platform that connects fashion brands to a network of highly vetted, truly Italian luxury apparel and apparel accessories manufacturers. This company will be presented by Alessio Iadicicco. And the fourth and last startup tonight is Najha Fashion, a sustainable fashion brand from Portugal using innovative materials with Daniela de Sá. So now, shortly about the format of the event. Each startup has 7 minutes to pitch, and then it's followed by about 20 minutes feedback and questions from the advisors. So now a few words about the Startup Club. The Startup Club is a one-stop shop for the global entrepreneur community. And our vision is to assist businesses in their capital structuring and growth. And we help entrepreneurs by connecting them to investors, advisors, mentors, and other key players in the startup ecosystem internationally. We host pitch nights and investor networking conferences, and we have had about 50 successful events in 2021. And we are active on all the continents, and we have about 70,000 members in our online network. Yes, we are active in different industries such as green tech, fintech, real estate, food tech, ed tech, fashion tech, beauty, and health tech at the moment. So you are welcome to visit our website to see all the upcoming events in the coming months. And now I would like to ask the members of the advisory board to shortly introduce themselves. So I'm very happy to have you here tonight. We have Isabelle Harvie-Watt from the Cultus group with us. Hi, Isabelle. How are you doing?
How are you, Mathilde? Nice to see you.
I'm good.
Good. You want me to say something about myself?
Yes, this will be great. Yeah, short introduction.
Okay. So I've worked in the fashion and luxury industry for more than 25 years. Mainly until recently, I was actually in-house running marketing communications, branding for big companies such as Giorgio Armani initially was the first one, and then Versace, Tod's, Valentino. I'm based in Milan, so global roles, CMO roles essentially. I also ran a media agency called Havas Media Group in Italy for about 5 years. And I now have my own strategic consultancy business, a small boutique, and we also which is called Anima, and then I'm here tonight as Cultus, because I also with a small we're a small group of sort of private investors, and we've done about 6 or 7 direct investments as a group, and so I can kind of wear my double hat tonight. That's why I'm here.
Thank you so much, Isabelle. Wonderful. Then we have also Rebecca Sehlbach from the Fashion Technology Accelerator. So hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Mathilde. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks so much for having me. Let me introduce myself. So I'm Rebecca. I work at Fashion Technology Accelerator in Milan. An accelerator, which as the name implies, invests mostly in fashion tech, beauty tech, retail tech, startups at an early stage. So I've been with FTA for about a year now. Before that was in Berlin at N26, a fintech, and also spent some time in Argentina at a venture capital fund there, Draper Cygnus. Yeah, so I'm very excited to see the startups here today and looking forward to hearing the pitches.
Thank you, Rebecca. And then I would like to introduce you to Alfredo Orobio Ramirez from FARFETCH. Hi, Alfredo. Are you here? Alfredo, I think maybe you're on mute.
Not yet, maybe.
Oh, he's not. Well, then I would like to introduce you to Zoe Chrysostom from Plug and Play Tech Center. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Mathilde.
Hi, how are you doing?
Very good, thanks. Thanks for having me. So I work in the ventures team at Plug and Play. Plug and Play is a company that has a couple of activities. We were founded about 35 years ago in the Silicon Valley. Our first activity is our VC firm. So we invest in early stage startups in 18 different verticals, including brand and retail. The one in which I work in France. The second activity is our innovation platform. So we basically facilitate introduction between startups, scale-ups, and 600 corporate partners that we have across these 18 verticals. And the last activity is also our accelerator that we have in different locations. So yeah, excited to hear the pitches and nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Zoe. Okay, Alfredo, I think has not arrived yet. So I will reach out to him, but we can start now with the first pitch. So don't hesitate to ask your questions to the presenters in the chat. And so now it's I would like to give the word to Aditya and the company YOLOgram. So hi, Aditya.
Hi, Mathilde. Thank you very much for having me here, and warm welcome to everyone. Thank you very much to all the mentors. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Yes.
So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So, hello, everyone. The name of our startup is YOLOgram, and it's actually a play on the word hologram. So the idea is that we're all going to have 3D avatars in the future, and this is going to be a personal hologram. So it's your hologram, and it's also a play on the word YOLO, because you can live a much larger than life, life through your avatar in the metaverse. So it's a play on both the word YOLO, and your hologram. And the idea really is that we want to bring in the concept of fun styling with branded apparel. So you're styling yourself, styling your avatar with branded apparel, having fun. And our vision is to unlock the stylist in everyone. We believe that every consumer can become a stylist. So we're talking about unlocking the stylist in everyone. So my presentation focuses on 3 aspects. One is basically the concept of playable styling, which is basically about mixing and matching fashion on yourself. We're also talking about the concept of immersive storytelling, because as the world is moving into 3D, how can consumers do better storytelling with this fashion on their avatars? And we believe it's only when these 2 words come together that you can have truly phygital commerce. Everyone talks about phygital coming in with NFTs, but the problem is that it's a disconnected world right now. Every metaverse activation or every brand activation that exists in 3D today is pretty disconnected from the way it is in 2D and e-commerce. The problem today with 2D e-commerce is it's static and impersonal. So what that really means is that the technology that has evolved for photography and e-commerce has really evolved from the time of the catalog and from magazines. So it's really been 2D from get-go. And what that really means is that even though we have a beautiful model here and she's in an action pose, but you can only see the model from the perspective of the photographer. You can't really change the clothes. Everything is locked, including the pose of the model. And this is something that's very natural to us. But when we look at Gen Z, they find this very, very difficult to deal with because they've grown up with iPads and, phones in front of them right from the time they've had their first meal. So they're not able to understand why is it that you can't experientially engage with these platforms. And also they've learned to grow a sense of frustration because they have a certain frustration from not owning the assets that they own on Roblox and Fortnite. So they're really looking at unlocking this ownership and having true ownership of these assets. And they're talking about, creating influential content. So they want to be able to take this digital clothing, take the content that we're able to give them in e-commerce and create influential content with it. On the flip side, brands are continuing to churn the cycle from the industrial revolution point of view. So they're talking about boosting sales. They're talking about turning the cycle around and trying to talk about loyalty. But what that's doing is every time you talk about boosting sales by ad revenue or by moving up your sequence on a search list, what's really happening is it's a zero-sum game. And also what's happening is that Gen Z and Gen Alpha is getting tuned out by all these messaging that goes out, whether it's text messaging or email, because they tend to tune these things out. They tend to tune out any kind of tracking that happens on them. And when we talk about new revenue, when you talk about brands and you tell them about new revenue, they typically look at licensing. And what that does is either they want to put their brand on a coffee cup, or they're talking about putting, selling PFPs, that is profile pictures, as NFTs. And all of that is not really meaningful to Gen Z and Gen Alpha today. When we talk about, when we spoke to some of these kids, what we realized is that when they talk about experientially engaging with the brand, they're really talking about styling themselves with branded apparel in real time. And when they're talking about unlocking of ownership, they're talking about wearing this digital clothing with them on 2D calls in the metaverse and coming up with mechanisms where they can wear it virtually and earn from this. Then when we talk to them about, what is it that they mean by influence and, sharing content, they're really talking about sharing playful stories in AR. So, we're talking about shifting it from, typical 3D commerce to playable commerce. So you have the jacket, which spins around in 3D, which is table stakes today. So you can have the jacket as a dumb object, which shows up in AR, but that's not really what Gen Z and Gen Alpha are looking at. They're looking at playable commerce, which is a video game-like experience. So what you have on the right side is the same gray pants, but you're switching and swapping the blue jacket with the green and brown jacket. And that's really the concept of playable styling. So from a 3D commerce angle or a 3D styling angle, you can see Jack on the left side from all different angles being seen inside a fitting room. And on the right side, what you see is another one of our avatars of another player of ours called Jin. And what Jin has done is he's put on different kinds of clothing onto his current avatar that he had. So even though he's wearing a red vest with black pants, when he puts on a green jacket, it takes on a totally different meaning. And because this is pixel clothing, we're able to even do customization. So he's able to put his name at the back of the jacket, which is very meaningful to him when he's styling himself in the metaverse. So, what we're really doing is coming up with a new paradigm in engagement. And what we're doing is bringing the concept of gamification, aspirational commerce, which means that you're able to, kind of tap into buying things that you're not able to buy in real life or online and in the metaverse. And the concept of, wearing and sharing online. So, the app has the ability to, let two players share their experiences with each other. So 2 people have styled themselves in Halloween costumes. So one's in a Spider-Man costume, one's in Captain Marvel, and they're on different parts of the planet, but they're able to send themselves holographically into each other's faces. So, I'm able to see either the 2 of us in a room here, or I can see your avatar on a live call, and I can see the way you've dressed up. This becomes very meaningful when you're talking about 2 kids wanting to dress up for a party together, or any kind of pairing that happens, whether it's a boy and a girl, or you're talking about bridesmaid and bride. So that's the kind of power that this can do in real time. So what we're really doing is we're talking about immersive storytelling, where we're talking about bringing you into the game, not just the clothing in 3D in AR. So we're actually pushing you into the game. So we're creating a photorealistic avatar of you and applying this clothing in different kinds of immersive backgrounds. So what we can do is 3D virtual backgrounds, which is what we call metaverses today. We're also linked it to an HDRI pipeline, which is 360 content. So this could be 360 content, which is meaningful to you, or it could be 360 content, which is meaningful to the brand. So it could be a retail experience. It could be an athletic stadium. It could be Times Square. So it could be anything that means something to the brand. You're able to push that content out, and people are able to experientially engage with the branded experience, at least the retail experience, in the comfort of their own homes. AR, of course, is fun. So I've placed this avatar on my laptop, but you can place him on a Starbucks coffee cup or a McDonald's burger. And that's the whole fun of sharing in real time. So we're able to simulate natural outdoor, indoor lighting. And what this really does is that we're able to bring the concept of branded experiences. So this is a branded clothing. You can see MTV gear. And you can also see that the background in this case could either be a branded background, or it could be background. Sorry, I skipped a couple of slides. It could be a background that the retail experience is pushing out. It's of course immersive, so you're not really limited to 2D. You can even do immersive experiences like outer space, underwater, depending on what the brand chooses. And of course, it's storytelling. So even though we've seen the movie Up and we've seen the movie Toy Story, these are real emotions that you feel, even though these are avatars. So what we're really doing is taking these styled stories, which are typically like stories in social media, and putting it on a continuous news feed. And these styled stories get converted into NFTs. The minute another user clicks on an NFT, they're able to immediately pick up the clothing which someone else has styled onto their avatar. So this creates the in-game economics of which we call style to earn. So even though consumers are styling on themselves, they're also coming up with a mechanism of earning within the ecosystem.
I'm sorry, Aditya, it's now 8 minutes 30. Do you want to say, take the
I think that, yeah, I think that's fine. So basically what we do is we're bringing the whole concept of styling, and we're enabling the style to earn as well as wear to earn economics to consumers. So we're pushing consumers into becoming stylists and virtual influencers. And we're different from gaming, which is really a disconnected kind of activation because it's cartoonish. And we're different from body tracking, because body tracking, you need to step away from the phone becomes really small, and the clothing kind of feels like armor. What we really have is like a real-time kind of experience where you can see the hologram, you can see it from the back, and we can mix it with music as well as an animation pipeline. So I'm done.
Great, thank you so much, Aditya. So now we can now move to the Q&A with the board members. I'm suggesting this order: Isabelle, Rebecca, Alfredo, if he joins, Zoe, and then and later on, actually, we will have another board member, Christine. She's going to join in 30 minutes. So let's begin with Isabelle, then Rebecca, and then Zoe. Yeah.
So is it Aditya? How do you pronounce your name? Sorry. Thank you.
Aditya, it's a tough one. You can say Aditya, that's
Aditya.
fine.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. I just really want to understand, where and what is different about your proposition from what's out there. I'm not sure I fully understand, what you're offering that is, I've seen some other avatars or other, styling or apps. I've seen, 3D, very good digital twins, replicas of clothing in the fashion world. I'd just like to understand what is different about your proposition. I think for me, that's the main question.
Ours is the democratic experience. So what we're offering is a mobile app. So any consumer can create their own avatar. This is a democratic consumer avatar. These are not the volumetric captures of models that happen. And also we're offering it as a SaaS platform, enterprise SaaS, on a per SKU basis for a brand. So we're typically pricing it at $150 per SKU per month. And we're going to do an enterprise model where we're giving out 15 brands per month as one slab. And then as you move up the slabs, we make it at a lower cost per SKU.
Okay.
And beyond that, of course, we have the whole Web3 economics. So, the in-game economics where the consumers stand to gain from the economics of selling digital clothing, buying digital clothing. That's a totally different economic model other than the SaaS model that we have, which is really going to, make us stay alive and pay our bills.
Okay. So if you're a brand, you can, you will, let's say, choose 6 outfits. You can produce those 6 outfits for that brand, and, so that they, for the avatar and for the avatar, whoever signs up. So it's so you've got a B2B customer and you've got a B2C.
Yes.
Okay.
So we earn from the B2B because we offer it on a per SKU per month model. And we're able to convert SKUs not just into 3D commerce, but we're able to move it into an activation. So it's a monthly kind of model.
Monthly.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isabelle. Rebecca, would you like to be next?
Yes, sure. Thanks so much for the presentation. Something that I was a bit curious about, if you can tell us a little bit about the state of things as they are right now, just to understand a bit where's the product at, where are you at in terms of market testing? Have you gotten any feedback? If you can tell us a little bit more about that, that would be really interesting.
That's a great question, Rebecca. We've been fairly stealth, so we've not really got too much market feedback. So we're really looking for that traction in terms of getting our first few customers. We believe that the pricing of $150 per month per SKU, at least for the top 10 or 15 SKUs that really matter to brands, which is the flagship for this season, is something that may be affordable. And we really are looking at moving within the brand ecosystem. So we're able to move with one brand. We want to move to all the sister brands within that, brand group. So that's really what our play is going to be in terms of, moving within big brands are concerned. And we also believe that, once people activate, they may want to just get more and more SKUs on rather than deactivate the old ones. So we're looking at growing our relationship with brands as we, year 2, year 3, and thereon.
Okay, thank you. And in terms of fundraising, are you currently looking for funding? And if so, how much, at what valuation, what would you want to use it for, and so on?
We're looking for a fundraising of $400,000 at an 8 million valuation, so roughly diluting about 5%. And we're looking to get to our first and second beta customers, which would be paying customers, and completion of our product development.
Mm-hmm. If you say at a valuation of 8 million, what would that valuation be based on, given that you haven't launched yet?
So we've done a DCF based on some estimations that we've done based on how much of, how much we'll earn per brand and what kind of growth we can achieve. So I'm happy to share that data if that is something you'd like to look at.
Sure, thanks. And I think final question from my side, what would you say are kind of the key threats to your business and to things evolving the way that you're imagining they will?
So I think setting a value to the cost of digital fashion, I think that's something that we shouldn't, we don't know what players like Snapchat and Facebook would do, Meta would do. So we don't want to, tell people that it's a completely free product and you make money on digital fashion. We want to make sure that we have a paid relationship with the enterprise. That's a key risk which I think of often. And also we have a multi-avatar strategy. So we're not only doing photorealistic avatars, we can do real-time draping on Snapchat avatars, Meta avatars, Ready Player Me. So we're really, depends on what kind of story the brand wants to tell, we can really bring that real-time clothing onto any of these avatar systems.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. And I think Alfredo has arrived. So hi and welcome, Alfredo.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm a bit late.
Hi, welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience shortly?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Alfredo. I'm an innovation principal at FARFETCH. I work for the open innovation team, basically looking at nascent technology for the group. And I'm a specialist in digital fashion. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Did you have time to look at the pitch deck of YOLOgram?
I did. Yeah, should I fire some questions?
Yeah, if you have some questions, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'm just curious on your tech stack and where you guys are planning to build as a USP. Is your or your AR technology your proprietary IP, or are you based on Snap or any other suppliers?
Yeah, so we're not doing body tracking, we're doing avatar placement. So we're completely proprietary as far as the AR is concerned. We're building on Unity because we're doing the real-time, we're able to place digital fashion on real-time onto avatar. So we're able to take non-animated clothing from Clo and Browseware and make it instantly animated onto the avatar system. And like I mentioned earlier, it's a multi-avatar system that we're planning. So, not just the photorealistic avatars, we should be able to map it onto Ready Player Me avatars, we should be able to map it onto Meta avatars. So we're really talking about being the draping technology for any avatar system for a brand.
Cool. And how are you guys planning to tackle this interoperability between, platforms? Are you like, what is your strategy for that? Are you looking for something like extremely detailed, or are you playing this on the field, or like Ready Player Me more on the simplistic side? What do you think is the future?
So I think there's a place for photo realistic avatars, and there's a place for cartoon avatars. So as far as activations are concerned, there's a lot of fun in doing a cartoonish clothing, but people really want, when they're looking at try-ons, would like to look at, especially when there are different kinds of textures, and when you're looking at woolly textures and things like that, you want to deal with photorealistic digital twins. So, doing a photorealistic digital twin on a cartoon avatar doesn't look good. So, we need to see what is it that the brand wants to look at when they're doing the activation. And if I understood your question right, how are we approaching the multi-avatar system? We've got the tech to build the multi-avatar system. We just need the permission from each, we need the permission from Snap, and we need the permission from Meta to work on that avatar system, because, we've built a multi-avatar system where we can feed in any kind of base avatar, and the clothing can come onto that avatar.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Alfredo. And Zoe, would you like to give your feedback?
Hi, Aditya. Thanks for the pitch. So on my end, I want to understand a bit what's the, so I have a few questions. The first one, what's the customer experience or customer journey when coming on your app? So users have to scan their body, or anything that has to be done with their mobile, and then they can choose and select the clothes from different brands. Is that how it happens? How are you trying to build your experience?
So we believe that we'll be getting a lot of our traffic from the brands. So the brands, we have a certain interface which is web exposed. So, we have the clothing available in 3D on the web. It's available on a standard avatar on the web. And then there's a button there which says see on yourself, which directs you to the app. And then when you go to the app, you kind of upload a photograph of yourself or a selfie, and then a full body avatar system, which is photorealistic, gets spun up.
Okay. Why did you choose to create a separate app and not have it directly on the brand's website, or kind of embed the experience there?
So a lot of the real-time 3D is tough to do on the website. So if you're talking about real-time draping of clothing, real-time animation, it's a little tough to do on websites today. The technology is improving with some new tech from NVIDIA, but right now we've built it on a app built on Unity, which works on both iOS and Android.
Okay. And in terms of the brands that you're targeting, what type of brands are you looking to work with?
Any brand that would like to have an activation of virtual try-ons online on avatars. So, we're really looking at any kind of brand that works with Clo and Browseware that is doing digital fashion, so they understand the space. So either we can deal with their 3D product, or we can just recreate it from e-commerce photography.
Okay. And so there's a couple of solutions out there, like 3D look size solution that offer a virtual try on in addition to sizing. Are you planning on, do you think that you position yourself against these solution, or are you not including at all the sizing parts
We are not addressing sizing, because when you do a simulation, it's always a perfect fit. So we're not looking at sizing, we're looking at the look side of things and really content creation. So with a couple of clicks, a user can just start, doing crazy moves and placing themselves in AR. So we're really looking at a content creation solution, which is like when two friends are sharing in AR and they're sharing in social, we're able to track that as a digital activation campaign, bring it back to the brand. So, we're able to directly push into the Pinterest of the brand. So we're really looking at, social AR, so AR going to social and content creation for the metaverse.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Zoe. Okay, Aditya, you have 2 questions for you in the chat. Maybe you can respond to them in the chat if you want. We will move now to the second presentation. It's the Hamptons shop presented by Richard Di Donato. Hi, Richard.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, how are you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for allowing some time on this platform and coordinating. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. You can now share your screen and start.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. So my name is Rich Di Donato. I'm founder and CEO of the Hamptons lifestyle apparel brand. My background has been in developing brands for over 30 years. I helped grow the Coach handbags retail division pre-IPO, opened 150 stores in 3 years to change from wholesale to a retail model. Ran Danskin and also was an operating partner of a private equity fund. When I was looking to launch a brand, I was really impressed with the high global recognition of the Hamptons and what that meant and how we can market and develop it. So what we've done is, what I'd like to do is limited time is really focusing on our positioning, branding, the product and the team, and we can always revert back to our financials and our offering. So really our mission is high quality, comfortable clothing, connection with the nature, and also eco-friendly, and sustainability is critical today. We're going to make a premium apparel and accessory brand inspired by coastal New England lifestyle, surf, sport, and fun. And we integrate luxury fabrics, rich colors, and our products are made in Peru. Quick investment overview. We're tapping into the fast growing e-commerce growth of US sales of apparel. 40% of all US apparel is done online now. We trademarked the Hamptons and a lobster logo.
Sorry to interrupt you. You have a presentation by any chance?
Yeah, it's not, you don't have it?
No, we can't see it. At least I can't see it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can see it.
Sorry.
How about now?
Amazing. Yeah. Thank
you. You got it now?
Yeah. Thanks, Rich.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyhow, that's just a little imaging for you. And then we just went through our mission and our positioning on the brand and so forth, really tying in the coastal New England lifestyle, surf, sport, and fun, products made in Peru. Just some highlights we were talking about. We're working towards sustainability. We'll touch on that. We've got an incredible management team and advisory board. We've developed great partnerships. Our manufacturer in Peru makes for Vineyard Vine, Peter Millar, and so forth. And our model is highly profitable, more of an outsourced business model with great returns. And we'll talk later about that. Really what we're doing is we're developing an authentic coastal living feel. So you see some of the family events and how we're tying in this type of getting together. Again, post-COVID, we need social interaction and so forth. Our imagery is the success and confidence of the Hamptons, affordable luxury, and a desirable lifestyle. Our products itself, our position along with Southern Tide, Vineyard Vine, Peter Millar, and Johnny O. So our polos are at a 75 to 90. Pima cotton pockets. We'll develop graphic t-shirts, which really allows us to accentuate the personality of the brand, being a lot of slogans and things around lobsters. What's important is we're going to bring in women into the fold. It'll be initial men's line, bringing women through unisex products like you see the beach totes and things like that. We'll have white, pink, light blue caps and accessories. Future will be expanding men's categories in 2023 into swim trunks and things like that. And then later, once we've established the brand, introduce women's and men's. A lot of people, like my friend in Southern Tide, we've gone out with the men's line at first. First, there's fewer brand options for men. And I think men initially will be a very loyal customer to a brand that fits and allows them to kind of show their personality. The trademarks are to the right there that we have, the Hamptons and the H with the lobster logo, and it's all inspired by the New England lifestyle. Sustainability is huge for us. We all know there's a big problem globally, and we're going to leverage the lobster logo. It's a great, easy connection to our oceans, and we're looking to partner with a group whose mission is to save our oceans. So not only we incorporate sustainability into our fabric and our process for manufacturing, but we'll also separately work with a group that's looking to save our oceans. Very large market, 1.7 trillion, excluding footwear. The e-commerce segment is getting larger. In fact, it's the second largest category that's being sold online at Amazon. Our market, we're targeting 28 to 42-year-old men and women, appreciate finer things in life, but are active, socially conscious. And we just want to have fun with it. We want to bring the time about family members getting together and that type of thing. Competitively, we've got trademarks, we've got great styling, superior manufacturing through Peru, also favorable import or no import duties coming into the US. Our channel strategy is going to be direct to consumer. We're switching from the Hamptons shop.com to the Hamptons clothing. When you Google the Hamptons, everything under the sun comes up, which is great, but we have to be more specific. Eventually, we've had talks with Nordstrom and other large department stores, and more realistically, probably 2025 is when we'll introduce the line to them when we add additional categories. Marketing plan, over $3 million spend through 2026. We're going to use influencers and some very good cost-effective means to roll it out. Our team is phenomenal. I mentioned myself a bit in leading teams and directing growth of brands. With Coach, they brought me in pre-IPO to develop the retail store format. John Legg is CEO of a Purple Mattress. He's our supply chain guy. Rich Elvis is a digital marketing guru, and Mary Alice Kelly is in product and brand development. Some of our partners, Thimble Sourcing, I mentioned, is our agent in Peru, and they work with Vineyard Vines, Peter Millar, and the factory we're developing. We're going to use Shopify as our website platform, and we're partnering with Whiplash out of Delaware, which was key for me because I wanted to be 1 to 2 days ground to New England or the Northeast in the US, which I think will be our early adopters of the business, and it's fully outsourced. A couple of just highlights: the trademarks, our partners developed our line. We've raised $200,000. We'll get into that momentarily. I brought on the executive who launched Puma Golf, and we're just blessed because we have people who want to be part of this brand and love the concept. And I pay this gentleman $100 an hour as a consultant to the brand, but he just wants to start off early with us and grow. We're relaunching the website, building additional products. As far as the financials, we'll scale to just under $10 million as we introduce it to larger department stores. It's a combination of the website and wholesale. And if you look at the EBITDA down at 33%, a lot of that is driven because it's an outsourced variable model. So we do not have a huge corporate group. We will going forward beyond this time, but with this kind of bank planning growth, we don't need to. And like I mentioned, we've got this gentleman who launched Puma Golf. who's phenomenal, but at a consultant arrangement right now. The offering itself, we raised 200,000 in the last 2 months in Series A. We're offering in Series B 500,000 at 3.5 million pre-money. We've negotiated back and forth on the Series A, and I've got guidance from colleagues in the private equity world and coming up with that. That's our use of funds. Our return is a 51% annualized ROI based on 8x EBITDA 2026. And the real key in what's going on here is there's a lot of exit strategies, and the most notable one is the bottom line Voree Clothing that started in California in 2014. In October of 2021, they received a $400 million investment by SoftBank, valuing them at $4 billion. And everything they talk about, everything from the hang tags, which we're incorporating, is about sustainability and that social consciousness to the world, because it's an important thing on everybody's mind going forward. So that's just our quick, high level highlight of our offering, and I appreciate the time to just take you through that.
Thank you very much, Richard. So let's start with the Q&A. Isabelle, would you like to start?
Okay, so Richard, thank you very much. I guess I think my main, I understand the strategy and everything, but it's a very crowded marketplace out there, and I just wonder, is there room for another brand, in this position, this kind of positioning? I don't really see something that differentiates it from a number of other players in your category. And when you talk about, I guess that's my first question, and then my second question is really about sustainability, because to have a few recycled products or to use some recycled plastic, or I don't see sustainability through the whole business model. I don't see a circular, for example, a circular model. I don't see anything that really speaks to or that embraces sustainability as a whole. So can you walk me through those two things?
Yeah. So the first comment about differentiating. I've got close with the former CEO of Southern Tide and that type, and I think we've talked about that whole room for another brand, and I've also talked to the co-founder of Psycho Bunny, and what's come out is everybody's really embraced what we've got for the brand, and most importantly is that it's a lot about content. It's a lot about the storytelling, the imagery, and things like that. And people are looking to identify, and mostly the reason why we're going out with men line as well is there's a lot less offering for men, and if a guy likes a shirt and things like that, they stick with it, and we want to push the model through that. And I was talking to Psycho Bunny, and it's amazing. It's going to be it's a men's and a boys line, because very few women would have a animated bunny with a skull and crossbone on their shirt. But everybody that I talked to on the retail side said their messaging is incredible, and that's what the two between. It's a no-brainer as far as the quality, right? But the real key here is developing the content and the storyline and developing that lifestyle. So from everybody we've talked to and so forth, we do feel, and everybody we put this in front of really like the imagery and have an instant connection with the Hamptons, which is key. When I was running Danskin, a little company called Lululemon came on the scene. I'm like, what the heck's a Lululemon? Well, it took tens of millions of dollars to create that imagery for them. And I think we have a natural tie-in. For sustainability, our first shirts and things are not, do not incorporate that. We're working on things now for the 2023 fall season that will incorporate recycled polyester and so forth. Our swim trunks will be recycled nylon. So we've got those connections and contacts that we'll be launching in 2023. So we're not going to go out strong with that sustainability like Voree can, nor did they from the beginning. But it's an important part. I think everybody, it's if you want to be in the game, sustainability has to be part of it. everybody. I mean,
especially if you want to launch a new brand, I think, because there's so much stuff out there that you have to be careful to talk about sustainability when you're adding more stuff, as it were. So I think that's
But if you look at someone like Southern Tide, they have a whole section on sustainability down to the style by kids, men's and women as to what percentage of those styles are sustainable fabrics.
right.
So it's an important part of for our branding, I believe.
I'll let the others ask questions.
Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Great. I can take over then. Thanks so much, Rich, for your pitch for the presentation.
Sure,
Very
thank
interesting.
you. Yeah.
I think my first question is a little bit building up on what Isabelle was asking about as well, in terms of differentiating from competing brands. I was wondering if there is an innovative tech component to your business. Is it tech enabled in any way? Can you share a little bit about that to make us understand a bit more that side of the business?
Yeah. So right now with our offering, we're not, we're introducing, we've developed and put in front of our factory as far as a wick away moisture, that type of thing, where it's an active product for golf or something related to activity. So our existing line is more casual apparel right now, but we're going to continue, and we're starting to work with someone who's going to continue to work through innovative fabric to add those kind of layers and how we differentiate. So the gentleman we brought on from Puma Golf, his background is all about fabrics and sourcing those type of things. So yes, the answer is we will, but right now with our line to this point we don't have that. The next iteration will be more wick away, and then other fabrics that are going to be lighter, cooler, and that type of thing for our consumers.
Okay, so in terms of innovation, you're really thinking in the direction of new materials.
There'll be, you always have to keep up front. Everybody's got that. I mean, Southern Tide came out with their cool technology and things like that. So I think you have to always do that. And you got to continue to look for sourcing that's keeping up with that. Someone like VII is a very good model. I mean, their product is just, you touch it, the fabrics are just incredible. What they've delivered. So that's going to be a huge part or in our differentiation as well, certainly.
Okay. And then another question that I had in terms of the relationship that you have with, I think it's called Thimble Sourcing, the partner that you have in Peru. If you can elaborate a little bit on who covers what activities and what is done in-house by the Hamptons versus what is done by partners.
Yeah, right now, I've assembled a great advisory team that will pull a lot of our players together. So my product development person made the introduction to the Puma Golf guy and things like that. So a lot of what we're doing is outsourced. So even our 3PL is an outsourced third-party logistics in Delaware. So Thimble is really an agent, and they represent a number of factories, and depending on your stage, they'll place you in the appropriate factory based on quantities and things like that. Some are suited for smaller runs where they move you along as you get larger. So pretty much we've got 3 advisors, myself, and then some other consultants like the product development person, and all the other components are outsourced. So the manufacturing, third-party logistics, and that type of thing are outsourced.
Okay. And I think final question from my side would be a little bit on the roadmap beyond, the new product launches that you've already told us a little bit about. Also, more thinking about long-term vision for the brand. You mentioned, hopes of eventually being acquired by PE firm, but where do you see the brand moving in the coming years?
Yeah, so right now what we're doing is we've developed a product category launch from 2023 to 2025. And a big part of that is right now with our tops and some of the things, we don't have a broad enough line to get in front of a Nordstrom or even regional department stores. So I've been in talk with those. So we've outlined and we share what we're looking to do. And we're looking at staying with men's 2024, 25, go to regional department stores with a line. And most of them put you on their .com, as well as if you work it right with the right line, you can get exposure within their brick and mortar. So that's really the goal. And I think we're probably not looking, Southern Tide took 5 or 6 years before they went into women's. I think what you have to do is you got to nail it. You got to nail it as a brand, your storytelling, your quality, how it brings along and that type of thing. And then we'll, based on feedback and timing, probably more like 26, 27, look at the women's line.
All right, great.
But
Thanks
the
so much.
positive thing is we'll incorporate women from day one. Unlike a Psycho Bunny, they'll be either buying for men in their lives, or we'll have certain unisex products that they can buy into day one. The tote line is really phenomenal and well received as well.
Great. All right. Thanks so much for answering my questions.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rebecca. Alfredo, would you like to ask your questions?
Yeah. Oh, thanks so much, Rich, for the presentation.
Certainly. Thank you.
I just have some points. I think there are more comments than questions. And I think when you position yourselves as a lifestyle brand, like on this segment of like, Vilebrequin or like Frisco Ball Carioca, Oliver Brown, I think most of those brands, they are based on like very strong identity. And I think you could play this role with the Hamptons. I think there's a very emotional connection there that you could play more, and I feel that there's a gap to be filled on that space. I think there's there's some elements on branding and brand identity that you could foster more, that could be translated on your imagery, in your logo, in your designs, that could strengthen your USP as a fashion brand. I think that's something that you should like look into developing more. What I miss as well is having a hero product. So what is your hero product? I think like a white t-shirt with a logo is not going to take you very far. It's not going to open the doors for like a Bloomingdale's or a Saks. A buyer won't be interested on another logo, another t-shirt with a logo. I think you should be focusing on something that is iconic from the Hamptons that you could explore, and then and work on that. I'll bring a case. I worked for a brand a couple of years ago called Frisco Ball Carioca, and they are like they were created by two English boys. And the idea was to be inspired by Rio de Janeiro lifestyle from the 70s, and as well the same idea, like very focused on menswear, clothing, high end quality, and they had a brilliant idea of exploring a sport that is only from Rio de Janeiro. There's the Frisco Ball, the beach bat thing, and they nail on that. So they start selling beach bats to Harrods, Selfridges, Bloomingdale's, and then when they were in front of the buyers with that, then they start opening their range of products. So then they start with swimwear and then t-shirts. Yeah. So I think what I'm missing from your brand is this story. And I think the Hamptons there's a lot of very interesting things for you to explore on that. It's a beautiful place. There's a lot of emotional connections, but I'm just missing that. And I think if you've already managed to get 200K in investment, my suggestion might be like working with someone good from the branding perspective to develop this logo in a more premium way, develop some prints, something that you can add to your product range, so you can go to a buyer with a more sophisticated range of products. Okay, they're my comments. Yeah,
those are really terrific comments, Alfredo. I appreciate it. It's interesting because Psycho Bunny does 62% of their business in a t-shirt and a polo, and that was kind of their signature. And even their quality, retailers say, is not that great, but they developed that cult. So right now we are branding. We're just hired a social media firm, and we're working on the branding and the storytelling and wrapping it up that I can't share right now. But at the same token, I totally agree. I think there's a lot of iconic things in the Hamptons to launch off. And to my initial point, I love the brand, the recognition of the Hamptons globally. So I think those are very well-grounded questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfredo. And now Zoe.
Hi, Rich.
Hi, Zoe.
I think pretty much of my questions were already answered, and comments as well have been said, which I agree on. My main question is on, you mentioned that you have, or you're using innovative manufacturing activities in Peru, and I'd just like a bit more information on that. I know you talked about the partner, but not the innovative aspect of the manufacturing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that the, whether I'd call it integrative or just, up with standard, just high quality. I mean, they, as far as that, Peru is very environmentally friendly and things like that, as far as all the way through the rich fabrics and colors and that type of thing. So anybody we work with going forward, of course, is going to have to allow for that, and their ability to turn around. I tested a Vineyard Vine golf shirt, went out and played at 90 degrees down here in Florida, and in 2 weeks they turned around a prototype with my branding. So they're very reaction, they're top notch, and we've got a nice partnership where we can turn our ideas into product right away and give us options. So it's a valued resource, and the fact that they're doing the same for some very successful and high known brands like Vineyard and Pilar is a big part for us. Okay.
That was clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. And we have a fifth board member who just joined us, Christine Goulay. Christine, welcome. Would you like to, hi. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, sorry, I'm a little bit late, but glad to be here. I did review the pitch decks before, so even though I missed a little bit of your pitch, Rich, I do have an idea from the deck. So I come from the sustainability side mostly. I worked for a couple of startup brands, one of them being Eden Apparel way back in 2006, showing my age, which was founded by Bono from U2 and Ellie Hewson, and most recently at Pangaea, which is focused on material science innovations, and also at a big multinational group, which is Kering, the Kering Group. So that's the luxury group, which has Gucci and Saint Laurent, Balenciaga, and everything. Sure. So I come from the sustainability side of things, so you can understand where I'm going to start with my questions. The first one being, if you want sustainability to be part of your story, why are you launching before it's ingrained in your story?
You have to be careful, and I've watched what Vori has done over time. When they launched, they were not a fraction of where they are right now, nor in 2014 was it elevated globally as far as the importance of our environment, right? I think we've seen it really ramp up, and you're in a great space because I think the last couple of years I've seen it really spike. I had very few brands mentioned it a few years ago, and even Southern Tide, that's pretty established, had just added it in the last month about sustainability. So I think the answer is, when we roll out, we have to be careful about what we're representing for sustainability. Certainly we can do it non-product related. So everything from our hang tag with recyclable paper and things like that, or source it where the methods they're using are eco-friendly. That's an important part. But I think we have to phase it in with our product offering with actual sustainability in fabric. And we won't be talking about that or our story from the beginning on the fabric side. But that's not too far down the road with us, because we are working on things for introduction in the latter part of 23 with sustainable items like men's swim trunk.
Right. Okay. It just seems like if it is integral in your brand story, then it would have been good. Are you at least sourcing organic cotton, or is it conventional? Okay, so organic cotton. One thing also I noticed in the pitch, and sorry if you went over this and I missed it at the beginning, but
no problem.
You have that one slide about how you want to partner with an ocean NGO or something. This for me could be very true to your brand, because Hamptons, you have people out on the boats and everything, and a very good way for you to bring sustainability to the forefront of your brand upon launch. But the way it was presented in the pitch deck, at least, it didn't look like there was much thought put into it, because you hadn't even picked an NGO. So do you have any, and again, sorry if I missed that, but do you have,
No problem. I didn't expand on it given its time, but we're down to 2 groups. You have to be very careful, obviously, who you partner. We looked at one group and they got some really bad press that they're selling a wristband, and 70 cents of the $20 wristband was going towards their mission. So anybody you partner with, or who's the branding partner, you have to be careful. So we have it down to 2. So we're further along, but I'm just not at a point where I can announce that. But it's even beyond the Hamptons, because it's a believable combination with the lobster residing in our ocean. So I think it makes a lot of sense. It's the right thing to do consciously, but I think it's going to be important for people to understand a little more about our company and what we stand for.
Yeah, and it seems like something that would really resonate with who you're trying to sell to. Another question I had was, you know, if you do plan on incorporating more sustainable or functional, innovative materials, they're probably more expensive. So have you reflected that in your financials?
You know, we haven't gotten down to the product category or anything like that. You know, right now we're not passing along the increase of, you know, Pima cotton and things like that to consumer, but we are starting to see brands like Peter Millar that are definitely passing that off to the consumer. And their performance polo is running at over 100 to 115, and it was just at 90. So they are starting to pass it along. And I think the good thing, and depends, we're talking with our agent in Peru, is what they can do to help us along. And it definitely helps us with not having the import duties with a partner in Peru. So that does help us with our margin side.
Okay. And I guess my last question has to do with the addressable market that you defined. I'm actually from New England.
Oh, okay.
A little further north, so Cape Cod area, and very familiar with the Black Dog, which is a very famous brand there. But I would say, and you know, something Cape Codders and like Vineyard Vine, you know, people love it. But I have a feeling that most people who are buying it are tourists who are visiting, and then they purchase, you know, they purchase something and leave. So are you afraid that that might be a phenomenon that your brand faces? Have you looked at comparing yourself to some of these brands that are very much tied to a specific location to see if that's what's been happening with them? And are you being too optimistic with your addressable market in the short term?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you know, if you don't know the area, Black Dog doesn't mean much unless, you know, you're ingrained there and know what's happening. You know, I think the bigger part is our global reach with the Hamptons. That was what drove me for the brand name, because the recognition is in the 90%. So it's just so high. So I'm not as, I'm not that concerned about that, because like I said, I think it creates a mental image that people have from the beginning. I think Alfredo mentioned before, I think it's important for us to expand upon that and tie that into our story, so it resonates with people, more of a coastline type thing in New England versus a limited little town or something like that, or a hamlet. So I think that's an important part of our storyline, but I like the best part is the recognition. And a lot of people have been pretty impressed the fact that we've been able to secure the trademarks and things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Christine. And thank you, Richard. Thank you all for the feedback. We have 2 more startups tonight, and now it's time for the third one. It's called MakersValley with Alessio. Hi, Alessio. How are you?
Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Great.
So yeah, you're ready to, when you're ready, you can share your screen and you can start.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Can you see my screen at the moment? Everybody?
Yes, I can see the screen.
Awesome. Great. I'm gonna try to be within the 7 minutes. I'm Italian. I talk a lot. I'm kidding. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Aditya, for hosting this in the Startup Club. So my name is Alessio Iadicicco, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of MakersValley. A little bit about myself. I'm based in Dallas, Texas, but I'm from a small town in the outskirts of Naples, Italy, so in the southern part of Italy. My background, I was raised by boutique owners. I was fed by a seamstress that worked in a luxury factories, and I lived with a shoe distributors. And I grew up pretty much in the backyard of, I don't know if you know, Keaton factory in Arzano. A little after a small parenthesis in the financial world in Wall Street, I came back to my roots and tried to solve a problem that I lived and experienced. And that's how MakersValley was founded. So MakersValley is an all-in-one sourcing management platform for luxury fashion brands. We are raising currently $1 million in seed round to reach a $2.5 million in annual revenue. So what is our current traction? So we have launched in July 2018. And since then, we have bootstrapped to $1 million in revenue. We have in our platform, on one side, 141 luxury fashion manufacturers, and on the other side, we have built a SEO lead engine that brings us about 30 emerging brands weekly, thanks to our 40,000 views monthly from our website and blog, and our current customer order size is about $11,000. Last year, we just did about $320,000 in revenue. So what is the problem that we are solving? So as you probably all know, currently today vetting and sourcing processes are costly and time consuming. So you have from one side, you have emerging brands that want to create a high quality product because it creates, of course, brand loyalty and customer retention. But when they're starting, they need low minimums, high quality. And so for them, it's really a problem to actually get a trusting factories that can help them with that. And on the other side, you have luxury factories that work with well-known brands, but they do want to utilize their spare production capacity to increase their profit margin, because most of the time, the big brands just squeeze their profit. So that's the current problem. And some of these factories they don't have the tools to vet all these enormous amount of direct-to-consumer brands that are coming out every day. So why now? So currently there are, as I just said, a lot of brands, fashion brands are coming out, and they need operating models, agile operating models to launch fast and design their product fast and in a sustainable way. Currently, they have three different options. You have trade shows, sourcing agent, and direct connection. All of them are costly. It takes a lot of time to source factories. And also, especially for emerging brands, when they go and talk with this factory, the factory, since it's scared to interact with the new brands, they will ask them to, you have to produce 300, 400, 500 pieces. Now, sometimes that's just to basically understand from a factory side that, don't know a lot about that brand. So, well, I'm going to ask you 500 pieces because I want to make sure that you have money to pay me, right? But at the same time, it creates true effect. It creates the effect for the brands to be like, oh, I have to have these high minimum orders, and some of them actually pay it, but then it just creates more crap out there. Like there is more waste just because of that issue. And then on the other side, you have the factory that just is making sure that they can get paid at the end, and so they just raise the entry market barrier for the smaller brands. MakersValley has actually 10x a faster and cheaper process for the brands and factory. They can source within 2 weeks, and the average minimum order quantity is 50 pieces. I'm going to tell you how we do that. So the current solution that we are offering to fashion brands and factories. So from the fashion brand side, brands can receive quotes on multiple products through our proprietary bidding system. They can easily compare factory credential, and at the same time, they can visually track and share the product development process with their customer through our built-in traceability timeline. From the luxury side, factory side, they can have access to pre-vetted fashion brands. So all the brands that our factories see are already pre-vetted by our platform from an algorithm and from an account manager. So to make sure that these brands are viable already. At the same time, they can have higher margin because on low batch production, they have typically about 35% higher margin than working for bigger batch production. And then they can instantly filter new orders from the brands present on the platform that are pre-qualified through our, as I said, our built-in client vetting process. So this is how our platform is already launched. As I said, this is just some screenshot from there. This is the case when a brand, after they have uploaded their design, they receive factory bids that they can compare in turnaround time, in production order, sample starting, production. So they can see the factory profile, they can see their certification, they can see the bid details before even making their decision. And once they approve that bid and they make the payment through the platform, our factories have what we give them a custom built app that they use to basically update along the entire process our brands. So we want to give a luxury experience also to the brands, and we want to make them feel part of the factory floor, even though they're 5,000 miles away. And so to do that, factory upload pictures, video while they're making your product. Because again, if you're trying to sell a $90 t-shirt, unless you're Armani with a really good history, you really want to make sure that there is a story behind it. And so we are also providing that tool to the brands to do that automatically through the platform. And then, of course, they can manage the entire shipping process. We have a worldwide agreement with UPS, so we can ship for our brands everywhere in the world with 85% discount. They can manage everything, payments, orders, all in one place. Some highlights from our users. So we have, for example, a boutique owner in Brooklyn that joined us since 2018 and still our customer. He wanted to create his own private label menswear collection, starting from his best-selling product, which was a pair of jeans made by a Swedish designer. So he knew that his customer loved these jeans, but he wanted to make some modifications. So he went on Alibaba, and the only thing that he could find was a factory that asked him to produce 1,000 pieces, and he received poor quality samples. On the other side, he found MakersValley. He was able to get a luxury factory in 7 days. He was able to produce at a less cost the pants, so making a higher margin, and at the same time was able to show to his clients how that jeans was made. On the other side, we have an online D2C brand that's Geneva. She designed an inclusive luxury nude shoe line. She took 6 months to find a single luxury factory that could produce 50 pieces each, the 13 SKU that she had. But then she eventually found MakersValley. She received bids within 2 weeks from 5 different luxury factories. She used the videos that she obtained from this factory to raise $25,000 on Kickstarter. And then she launched her production. And on the other side, the factories were able to make 35% increase on that usual unit price on her production. So currently we have launched this actually new business model that allow us to have lower churn rate and can actually bring us to enable faster growth. So we charge our brands a monthly plan and a matchmaking fee when we match them at the bidding process with the factory. Then after that, for brands don't pay anything on the orders, they just pay us the monthly plan. Then of course there are a la carte services such as production, QA, dedicated support, and shipping. On the other side, factories don't pay anything to be on the platform, but we charge them a 10% matchmaking fee and then 10% on ongoing orders, which is pretty much in target with how factories pay their sourcing agent. Market, we are looking at, definitely targeting the D2C luxury apparel brands with up to 100 million annual revenue. Our first target though is that target range between 1 million to 10 million, which is, by the way, like the majority of the brands within the D2C market. And if we look our, business model, we look at doing about $12.5 billion a year, but the overall SAM, considering the whole market, is about 25 billion, 23 billion. We are not considering the B2C market, but that's a whole nother beast. But you know the drill. So currently our 141 factories are all located in Italy. It's not just because I'm Italian, but because 40% of global luxury goods are produced in Italy. Our current supplier network can serve up to 2,000 brands. But we are definitely looking to go in other countries as well, as you can see over here. I'm gonna close in about 30 seconds. Currently, there is no B2B SaaS sourcing platform that specializes in global luxury good sourcing, that specialize on faster sourcing process, brand vetting process, and factory vetting process. We know we have a clear strategy on how to acquire customer. We have already built SEO strategy, bring us about 400 brands every quarter. And we are looking at launching our first ad campaign and definitely part of trade shows, and partner with Shopify Plus and Amazon luxury stores. Our projection bring us, we are looking for the $1 million in Q4, and that should bring us to about $10 million in GMV by Q4 2024. We have, again, a clear strategy outline over here that we can talk later. The team, we are a team of 8 people. It's me, Babajide, and Tiffany. And then we have a core team that is between Italy and USA with experience in the retail, shipping, and branding. Currently, our goals is to raise a minimum of $1 million in seed rounds. We are 100% founder owned. Our initial investment of the 3 founders was $1,000 each, $3,000. With that $1 million, by looking at our projection, we should reach about $2.5 million in actual revenue and $10 million in GMV, grow our monthly subscriber from 36 paying one to 200, grow our factory base from 137 to 200, and increase our inbound weekly leads from 30 to 80. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alessio. Okay, let's start with the feedback. Isabelle?
Yes, wow. There's a lot to take in, and it seems very exciting. So thank you for that. I think it's definitely fills a market need. I don't really, I mean, I'd have so many questions. I'd like to take it offline, but I just wanted to understand maybe two things here. One is at a certain point, I think when it comes to the product, right? So there's no way to test a product, right? So you can't actually get the physical product and see it. If you want to do a test, like you can if you go to the factory and you have a direct connection, obviously you can actually test the product and see the quality of it and see how it comes out before you then go on to order the 250 pieces. So I get that you're doing that on video, but I think that might be challenging. I mean, I would imagine that would be quite challenging, certainly for a luxury or a more luxury brand. So how do we, I see you're working with Gucci, so perhaps you can expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, so our factories, so first question about the sample. So when the brands upload their design and they receive bids from our factories, they can see the sample price and the production price on different brackets. So 50, 100, 500, 600, right? And of course, when they accept that bid from that factory, the first thing that they pay for is just a sample.
Okay.
So they pay for the sample through the platform. Let's say the sample is $300. They pay the $300. The platform send the first 30% to the factory. And then when the factory show from the videos and the pictures that the product was completed, they get the other 70. And even before you get your sample, we have added a quality assurance process where your sample is checked by our team. So to make sure that your sample is exactly what you have uploaded on our platform, because again, we are talking about luxury sourcing. And then after that is quality checked, we ship that over to you. Once you quality check the sample yourself.
You have people on the ground? So you have people on the ground. Okay.
Yes, we have a quality assurance office in Italy, Naples, and then we have an office over here in Dallas, Texas. From the factory side, our factories do work with brands such as Gucci, Versace, that have like, production contract of 2-3 years with those. And then they do have.
These are the factories that are on your site that are working with Gucci. Okay.
Yeah,
so they're not brands that have signed up with you already.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And then I had another question, which is at a certain point you talk about the traceability or for the consumer. So you're meaning you mean the end consumer?
Correct. So
how's that? Yeah.
So what happened was that kind of happened organically, honestly. So we built this process of like, hey, we want to show you how, it is on the factory floor, right? And so we built this timeline, the factory took pictures and video. And so then some brands were basically downloading all these pictures and video, creating a QR code to put on their label. And there the end consumer could scan the label and could see the actual assets sent from the factory to make their product. And then we are now taking a little bit forward, but then after we get investment is because we have now about, thousands of data on our platform. And so what we want to do is, okay, well, while you're uploading your design, we can tell you, hey, if you pick cotton, it's going to waste this much water. And if you pick this organic one, so we can actually now tell, not only show you the end consumer, but also to the direct, to consumer brand, hey, you might want to make some smart decision on your collection, because again, people will keep building brands. There is just no way they won't do it, right?
Yes.
But how do you tell them to a new designer, well, you can make now 50 pieces, we give you that option, but you can make that 50 pieces in a smart way and not create waste, then you have to sell in Mongolia or whatever, right? So that's the whole point.
Okay, super interesting. Okay, well, I'm in Milano, so I'll write to you separately.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isabelle. Rebecca?
Yes, thanks so much. Thanks for the presentation. It was super interesting. I think it was also very, very comprehensive pitch covering a lot of topics already. So one area that I was curious to know a little bit more about was the onboarding of both the brands and the factories. If you can tell us a bit more about the process, also how automated that is in terms of also timeline requirements and so on.
Yeah, that's a good question. So from the brand side, when they go on our platform, they, we make them fill out what we call the wizard process. So it's like question that they need to have in order to tech pack, fabric, and all these specific questions, right? And what happening right now in a lot of marketplaces is that everybody can just upload something and then the factory has to answer them, right? And it doesn't work like that. Factory don't have time for all these brands. So what we did is that once you upload these, all the information that we need so that you can get a bid, we have an algorithm. Right now we have what we call a account manager. So they go through your project to make sure that all the checklist is there. It takes about 30 seconds so that all the information are there, and then your project is approved. Once the project is approved, the factory can see it and send you the bids. But now after doing that for 10,000 sign up and leads, the platform somehow has machine learning behind it that is starting to basically approve and reject the project automatically. From the factory side, it's a little bit more complex. So we have 141 factories, but we could have had about 2,000 factories. So there is a process where we make sure that they have all the paperwork to export in order. Then we make sure that they're not agent, but they have the actual cut and sew machinery inside their factory. And then after that, they have ensured that we ask them for reference. So if they have worked with other factories, they need to send us a sample of their work to our office. So it's a little bit more involved, but again, it's a luxury sourcing platform, not a mass market one.
Okay, great, thanks. And just a very quick follow-up question on that would be, do you also help the factories assess how much unused capacity they have, or is that something that they assess and then they come to you once they have an idea?
So that's a great question. So right now, we are not doing that. They have the idea, of course, be like, I have 10,000, I can make 10,000 pieces this month, and I have about order for 8,000, so I have 2,000 pieces. And so they go on the platform and they start bidding, they see the different project available, and then they start bidding based on production quantity, based on the project, based on what they have available as a fabric. But yeah, we are not going there now yet, but we act for them almost as a fiduciary. So like they know that all our brands that come to our platform, they pay on time, they are already vetted. And so for them, it's just a way of saving a lot of money and time on, vetting and sourcing new brands and all of it.
Okay, makes sense. And then another question that I had was a little bit in terms of the scalability. You mentioned you do some parts of the work as well manually with an account manager, and also I think the quality control and so on. So I was curious to know more about your thoughts on the scalability of this area.
So what it takes from the brand side, so the pre-vetting right now, that's scalable and it's automated, it's being automated with the machine learning. From the quality assurance side, what we ensure our brands with that with that monthly fee is, hey, we are actually making sure that the sample match, the quality of the sample match what you have uploaded on the platform, right? And so our team really just gets one sample to check. And that takes about 15 minutes to make sure that, what you have uploaded on the platform, red shirt with this logo and, this fabric is exactly what you're getting. And then once it's done, we don't go and check, of course, the centimeter. That's the job of the designer, that when they go and look at all the specific, but we make sure that basically you just get what you ask for. We don't do production quality assurance. That's an a la carte service. So that's a service that then the brands can pay us to do it, but that's more for making extra, it's an additional revenue stream that we have added. How do I see it in the future? I do see it that potentially we can automate the sample quality check, but till a certain point. So we will potentially, if we see that the platform really takes off like crazy, then we might lower some costs from the brand side and say you will need to quality check the sample and go through the process online. But right now we are really strictly on luxury and sampling and quality and all of it. And then of course, after we make our brand out there, people know about us as I call it the premium Alibaba platform, then we can potentially start looking at more, Series A, Series B scalability issues.
Okay, great. And then I think my last question would be, in terms of the target of size of business for you, they mentioned that one of your USPs is the low minimum order quantities. At the same time, I think you're saying you're mostly targeting, or you're moving into the up to $100 million revenues brand. So I was a bit curious about what type of split of revenues you envision between the larger established brands versus the emerging designers.
Yeah, so great question. So the whole platform right now is definitely fitted for that $1 million to $10 million plan, right? So that just solves that problem, and we are good with it. But what we are focusing on also is talking with some like middle market brand, 40 million, 50 million. And for them, it's like, I already have my supply chain established, but they do want to use, for example, for second line, they don't want to create, they want to look for, when they're launching a new product, they don't want to look for luxury factory or vetted one. And so they can use our service. They're actually more interested, the bigger brands, on our traceability and sustainability, and that, like, what I call the sustainable development goal function in our platform that basically tell them, hey, this is how you make your new product collection in a smart way. So that's how we're envisioning on that side, and potentially also to license the platform for this bigger brand. But I can definitely tell you that right now, at least, we're definitely focused on that up to 10 million, at least in the seed round. And I just opened the Pandora base on the DTC, but there is the B2C, Shopify Plus, Amazon luxury stores, brands that use other marketplaces. But D2C for us is the target, because a D2C brand has control over the whole supply chain, and they want to have quality, and they want to make sure that everything is good. Instead, the Shopify is someone that just want to make a quick buck, create a t-shirt and sell it. Yeah, we can address that, but that's not our main goal.
All right, great. Sounds good. Thanks so much for your answers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Alfredo?
Hi, Alessio. Thanks so much for the presentation. Congratulations for bootstrapping the company so far. I have some questions about, as you're targeting mainly luxury brands, how are you protecting their IP when they are uploading their designs on the platform and on this bidding process? Is there any way to avoid other companies looking at that, or the factories copying their designs?
That's a great question. So that was a question that we answered first, that we solved even when we basically created the platform. So there is a contract in place that factories, is a master agreement that both factory and brand have to sign, both for IP and patent protection. And then once the factory sends you once the factory is matched with the US brand, there is a encrypted code that basically just allows the factory and the brand to see it, to see the communication, to see all the design and the pattern and the tech pack uploaded. But mainly, we do rely on the master agreement. So the factory, they cannot be on our platform unless they sign that. And they basically just give 100% guarantee to the brand, or at least, in Europe and North America, which is our main focus right now. It just gives 100% protection to both the brand and the factory. We did have factories that they didn't join just for that, because we had this protection, but we don't need them if they don't sign.
Cool. And how are you managing? I can see a very strong use case for simple products like t-shirts and sweatshirts, things that are very straightforward. But how are brands engaging with a more complex supply chain when the fabrics are coming from one supplier, the trimmings from another? How are you guys leading this process at all?
Yeah, and I want to answer with that. Let's give you that fabric, because the fabric is the main question that we had to solve. And so we give brands 3 options, right? And especially for that, more complex design where there is trims coming from YKK, more, Carbico, different brands, right? And different supplier. So we give them 2 brands. One, say, okay, you have this design, and you can tell the factory that you already have all the materials, trims, and fabric. So you're supplying your own. We give you the address of our warehouse. in Europe, and then we ship it to the factory that you're matched with. The second one is, well, I know exactly what I'm looking for, 100% organic cotton. And so the factory know when they send you the bids to include the quote for the fabric that they've received from their supplier for organic cotton. And the third one is more for that B2C brands that say, yes, I have a bunch of money, I want to create a sustainable line, but I know I want to do it in cotton for fall, winter, heavy, just give some generic one so that the factory can give you some options that they have available. So that works both for fabric and for trim. So we give them, and all of that is automated on the platform so that the bidding process is clear from the factory. That's how we have it.
And you managing the entire, so all the logistics between all those
yeah,
points.
So it depends. So some brands that have a little bit more of a salary supply chain, we just give them the address and say we have our own FedEx, UPS, freight forwarder, and we ship it over to you. Or some of them say, well, they just request our shipping team to basically send them to get all the information so that we can manage ourselves. So the offline side of the shipping and the quality assurance is the offline that we are kind of keeping, because that also generated for us some commission, so extra money. But yeah, we can also manage the shipping for that.
Cool. And I just have one question divided into basically what's your roadmap in your plan to use? So what are you planning to do with this 1 million that you're raising? And if you have any kind of tech integrations for your platform to achieve this scalability that you're looking for, what I mean, are you looking to integrate with any Glow 3D or Bronzeware to optimize this design process between the factory and the client?
Yeah, absolutely. So great question. So we see it in 3 different ways. So 3 different kind of pillar. So the first one is capitalizing on our current SEO strategy. So we already bring about 400 brands on our platform signups on our platform every quarter. And we are working really to make sure that there is a lower churn rate and to make sure that we target through ad campaigns, more qualified brands. So definitely SEO building and ads. We never really ran any ads. So we never done any of that. So definitely focus a little bit on that to bring in more leads. Then once we do that, the other goal is to start really focusing on getting our brand out there. So start sponsoring some trade shows that are specific on luxury sourcing. You have the Coterie one, you have the Premier Vision, you have PT. We trying to sponsor this one to show that, hey, there is this other solution. And then from the tech side, we are talking with the Shopify Plus and Amazon luxury stores to basically create an integration between our software and their software to be hey, you have a Shopify Plus store, you have this new design that, why not? You can integrate through the integration, you can get immediate bids, instant bids from our factories, and you can compare with your current production value. And if it's better, you can start using us. That's again, just to increase volume. And then last but not least is B2B partnership with complementary services. So just referral engine. So that's how we are trying to go after it. So referral, B2B partnership, ads, and then the SEO building. So that's the four pillar.
Cool. So just on that, if I can make a very quick, comment, just on your strategy of bringing those brands to a marketing SEO strategy. I think it's good that you're doing that. I think, but as you're leading with luxury brands, I think the main thing that luxury brands are looking for now is the credibility of your platform and that your platform works, and that you have an amazing vetted network of partners. So if I don't know your business in that depth, so I don't want to say anything, but if I would look into investing a bit on the technology of your platform and trying to integrate with these new tools that brands are using now, like people are moving to a 3D environment. They're moving to this 3D with like Cloud 3D or bronzeware. And how can you, instead of integrating with Shopify, that is on the end bit of the supply chain, how can you integrate early on the line and just, I don't know, have a way of, I don't know, communicating with the factories in being this person, right? So yeah, I think that would be a big
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, we were reached out by Swatch On, which is a big fabric marketplace in South Korea. We were reached out by 3D Look. So we are trying to build, right, like all this partnership. The thing is, you know, by being bootstrapped, you have to keep the ship moving and then slowly incorporating it. And we got to a certain point where we were like, it is just so sad if we don't get some venture money to just start going faster, because we can get there, but it's going to take way more time. And so, but I agree with you to start working on that side as well.
Thank you, Alfredo. And now Zoe and Christine, can we keep it just to one question, please, because we're running a bit out of time.
Hi, Alessio. Thanks a lot for the presentation. So maybe I'd like to ask a question around user behavior of your platform. Do you have any metrics to tell us? You talked about the churn rates, maybe churn rates, how much time, you know, brands spend on it. Do you have also any feedback on if brands that use your platform, do they use it as the only platform, or what percentage of their time are they spending on your platform? Any other metrics like that would be really interesting.
And to add to that one question, suppliers, out of the 140 suppliers you have, what's the like, how many of them are actually engaging and using it? Just piggybacking. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So the easy one for the supplier, because I was checking it this morning. So we have 88, which are actually engaged out of 141. So when I mean engage, I mean they have sent bids, they have done at least sampling, they have done at least like a production or two within the platform. From the user side, the whole problem that we were really solving within this past 3 years that the platform was on is we were having a really big influx of brands, and we at first what we did was, okay, like we cannot manage all of them, so how we can do that, we're going to just raise our membership fees to really high prices, so that the only one that really care and want to do it, they will start using our platform. That was our main issue to solve that churn rate. And then by doing that, actually we scared away more brands. Be like, okay, so you raise the commission and then you raise the price, what's going on? So then, and that was just an assumption. Then after talking 6 months now with all our customers and all our brands, they were end factories, we came out with this business model I just showed you guys that basically just was kind of an agreement, almost a town hall between brands and factories that basically allow for more scalability, lower membership prices, and more normal commission rates from the factory and the brand side. So we did have about 500 subscribers within the platform within 3 months. Currently, we have about 36. They stay in the platform within 6 months. That's the average time. The reason why some of them use other platform, but not as a sourcing, but just for drop shipping or shipping, or just that after sales process. And we do have plenty of data on Metabase, plenty. So we can definitely talk, and I can show you like why they cancel, why they subscribe. So we survey every part of the process. We learned in the hard way to put all this service and get all this data about a year ago. So we can definitely discuss more, because there's a lot to discuss.
Okay, thank you, Alessio.
Do I have time for a quick question?
Very quick.
Or no, very quick. I love what you're doing, Alessio. It's awesome. I guess my question is about competition, because you said there aren't any in the luxury space. I think that's probably true, but there are some that are doing pretty cool stuff that are, working with factories in Portugal and India, et cetera. So do you see any opportunity to work together with them?
A great question. Yeah, there are definitely other platforms that do that. we kind of picked that high-end luxury side because that was our main focus. I know that there are platforms that also start focusing on that sustainable aspect. There are some that focus in Singapore, some in India. But I feel like each one of us is kind of testing the market and the business model in a different way. And you know, our focus is really on that pre-vetting, on the like traceability and all of that. And I know that some of them are working on different stuff. And you know, all the startups that came out right now are really focused on the end consumer and just helping fashion brands sell. There is not really a lot happening on the sourcing and manufacturing side, right? So I think one of us will crack the egg, right, eventually, and we just scale way faster. So yeah, I mean, if they are, I'm always open to learn. So if there is any that is curious about us and we can find ways to collaborating, absolutely.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you everyone for your feedback, and thank you, Alessio. We have one more pitch tonight. I would like to welcome Daniela and company Najha Fashion from Portugal. Hi, Daniela, how are you doing?
Hello, thank you. I'm great, thank you. And thank you for having me here. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I will share my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Well, well, I will the full screen. Okay, so hello everyone. Najha is a fashion luxury sustainable brand. The problem is the fashion is the second most polluting industry in the world, with much waste of the collections. Also, the leather industry is highly polluting with lead to dye the leathers. And we know the cruelty and also the polluting food industry is increasing. And definitely we need climate change solutions for fashion industry. The consumers are definitely looking for a different and a sustainable lifestyle. As we know, also the biggest world influencers in the world are also looking for this sustainable lifestyle. And we have the solutions. We work with sustainable materials with certification, fabric from upcycled from marine litter, organic cotton, recycled rubber, cork, and recycled polyester, and others that we are developing with our suppliers. With these materials, we are able to create a complete range of products for fashion, from shoes, bags, and accessories and apparel and clothing. Our market focusing on sustainable market of the value of 7 billion at this moment, and we are aiming to reach and have a market share by 2030 of 200 million. Our main competitors, they are mainly focused on the sports, and also mainly focused on shoes. And we are focused on a complete range of fashion, from shoes, bags, accessory, and clothing and apparel, and also focus on luxury market. What I want to highlight to you is our R&D department, where we develop new issues for the brand. For example, we are now developing a method to color our fabrics, which is based in a bacteria. We are not using natural resources or chemicals to dye the fabrics, but a bacteria. And also, I want to highlight you that we use technology to create new products. Our goal is to create a limited edition of shoes which the soles are made with a 3D print from fashion waste. We have also our own circular economy method, when the client buy a product, he is able to return us at the end of the product, the product, have a 10% discount, and we are able to recycle it 100%. So our financial strategy is to raise 1 million of investment, which are mainly focused on the marketing investment. For the sales, direct sales, our margin is between 300 and 500%, and indirect sales is between 50 and 100%. The investment is focused on increase the brand awareness in the market, because until now, we think is our huge issue. Increase our website engagement, also activation of all our social media platforms, work together with bloggers, influencers, and ambassadors, of course, create new lines of products. And definitely we are now already ongoing partnerships with online platforms, physical shops, and agents. These are based in our fashion experience. For this investment, at the first year, our financial is for 2023 is a negative net profit because of the initial investment, but along the way, the profits will increase until 2023-7. We are aiming to have 7 million of net profit. Here, our roadmap. Before I go to 2023, I have to tell you that in 2022, we were selected for the Portuguese excellence brands, which put us side by side internationally in the ECIA association, side by side with Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and other high fashion brands, which it's a big goal for us. In 2023, we are wanting to launch the complete line of clothing and present it in New York Fashion Week and Paris Fashion Week. New York Fashion Week, our presence is already confirmed. By 2024, we are wanting to launch our first collection with soles made from hospital waste, and also our 100% apparel collection with recycled polyester. By 2025, our collection with 3D print soles, and also our first metaverse collection. Our team, I'm Daniela de Sá, I'm a founder, I'm vegan, and I live this sustainable lifestyle. I work for 70 years in the fashion industry. I came from a shoe business, family related business. We are shoemakers since my grandfather. We worked and produced shoes for brands like Gucci. So I know the high standards of a luxury brand. I have production and sustainable materials knowledge and experience. And I'm also co-founder of an association called All for the Planet. This is our team. Each one have their own skills, and they are able to reach and to manage one department of the company. These are our 7 years partners, because as I'm being working in the shoe business, I was able to put together the best companies to work with me, and they are with me side by side, and they know exactly our goals, the sustainability, all these concepts. They also sign contracts to be sure that the sustainability issues are committed. And of course, we are also in inclusive brand for LGBT, people with disabilities, and longevity, which is very important for our days in society. And thank you very much. And if you want to get contact with me, these are my contacts.
Thank you so much, Daniela.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mathilde.
Then we can start with the feedback. So Isabelle, would you like to start?
Sure. So thank you very much, Daniela.
Isabel.
I have a few questions. I guess I'm missing something because I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to have a look at the pitch decks before we got on the call today, but it's Fashion Week here in Milan, so it's a bit busy. But what I don't understand is you already have a brand, or because the financials I saw very quickly. So you already have a collection out. You already exist. Okay, fine. I think for me, it would have been interesting to understand much more about the brand, because I think it's great that obviously your goal is to be, as sustainable as you can in all your processes. And but I don't think that can be, your USP. I mean, I'd like to understand, what is your brand offering? What is your positioning? What is different about what you're proposing? Because I think, it may be happening slowly, it may be happening more in some places than others, but every brand is going to have to become sustainable. And so, to kind of base everything on that, I think is dangerous. And that was the first thing. And then the second thing I just was interested in, Sam, when you said something about recycling, so people can send back. Mm-hmm. So people can send back and they get 10% off the next buy. Is that what you do? And then you fully recycle it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that take back also, that how are you organizing that? Because that's also very costly to take back to take back one-on-one. How are you handling all of the back end of how do you think you're going to handle the logistics on the back end? I mean, sorry, there's so many questions, but I just.
No worries.
Yeah.
Okay, for the first question, Isabel, as we are mainly focused on luxury and also put together the luxury with sustainability, and we definitely are focused on always developing new materials and also new collections, of course. And the highlight here is always have developments in the first place, being the first coming up with new developments concerning materials, because as I'm together and very close with the suppliers, I'm able to work with them for these developments. And of course, always bringing new designs and different designs to our collections. I don't know, I answered your question?
Well, no, I understand that you're always sourcing new materials, and that's great, but I think that's part of everybody's process when they're designing collections, and everybody's always sourcing new materials. Everybody's always looking for, the sustainable materials that they can, that they can use. So what's next, what's coming, what will enable them to, to do it within, the prices that they, that speak to their positioning. I think for me, it's just more, I don't understand where your brand sits, and what is special about your brand. What is the edge? What is your edge? I think, and that's really my main question. And then there's, all sorts of questions about circularity, but that's a much longer thing we can take offline.
Yes, of course. Anyway, about the concept of the brand, as we see in the market, the sustainable brands that exist in the market, they are focused on the sports. And here we are creating the daily and day by day apparel and shoes and bags and all the range of the fashion brand. And this is our main focus: luxury for daily use and not only for sports. Of course, putting together the new developments concerning the materials. And about the circular economy that you are talking about, the thing is that already have connections with the transporter, that which we will be able, because I believe that not everyone will return the product, but the ones that want the product already have a percentage in the price for us to be able to do that, because the recycling also take costs. We have to have people just separating soles from the upper and all that stuff, from the zippers, and it's costly, and the price of the product will already have this percentage which include this recycling part. And as we are very, very close with our suppliers, we are able to work this recycling and creating new products with the recycling with the recycled products.
Okay, I'll let the others ask us questions now.
Thank you so much. Christine, would you like to go second?
Yeah, thanks, Mathilde. Thanks, Daniela, and congratulations. It's very exciting. I think I probably know what the bacteria dye is and who you're probably working with on that. I don't know if you know Pangaea, but we work with bacteria dye with the Portuguese supplier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and even in general, if you don't know Pangaea, it has a lot of the same sort of, I don't work there anymore, so but they do have a lot of the same types of products or ethos of what you're talking about. So something maybe to look at. I guess I guess I would just echo a little bit what Isabelle said. You're tackling many different types of products and you're tackling many different aspects of sustainability, which is great. But maybe having that clear message of what is your focus as a brand. Is it innovation? Is it animal free? Is it circularity? Is it everything? I don't know. But you know, you're spreading yourself far and wide in terms of product categories and the messaging on the sustainability and innovation side. So maybe being able to communicate that and allowing people to be able to place you a bit better in the different landscape of brands who are doing similar things, I think would be helpful.
Okay, thank you. Definitely, our focus is also the innovation. It's because innovation in brands includes all the production chain and also the creation of new raw materials, and definitely we are focused on innovation.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. Who would like to be next, Rebecca or Alfredo? I'll let you choose. Rebecca.
I can, okay. Sure, I can go ahead if that's okay with you, Alfredo. Great. All right. Thanks so much for the presentation, Daniela. I think we've actually crossed paths before, so it's great to see you again. Something that I wanted to know a little bit more about, as you mentioned, R&D is one of the important parts of your offering and your business. So does that include also proprietary processes, technology? Can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Yes, of course. We work with different companies, like with the partnerships, which we are able to create not only raw materials, but also the technology to use in our, for example, in our website, also for the metaverse collections. This is how we aim to use the technology further in the brand. And for example, we are working together with a company to have, how can I say, have application where the person, for example, a client is choosing a shoe and he will be able to choose the right size with the application, because the application will have the format of the shoe and will also scan the foot, and the customer will be able to choose the right number, which will avoid the back and turn, which sometimes happen in the shoe industry. This is one example of the technology using in our not only in our website, but also in the app applications mobile.
Okay, thanks. And something else that I was curious about is the sourcing of the materials that you use. So I imagine that you can source the waste material for either free or at a very low cost. But of course, there's some other materials, especially sustainable ones, which I imagine have a higher cost, of course, than the non-sustainable material. So I was just curious to understand how that fits with the high margins that you project.
Actually, we look for sustainable materials that suppliers will be able to be paid with a fair price. And sometimes they, as you saying, there some of the raw materials are more expensive. For example, fabric upcycled from marine litter is much more expensive than organic cotton, and we are trying to balance all these different costs and to have also a balanced price for the final client. But yes, there are different prices for different materials, and we are aiming to balance all of them, but always have a fair price to our suppliers.
Of course, no, that's important for sure. Okay, and then I think my last question would be about the traction that you have to date. So I think in your projections, you say you expect to sell around 9,000 products during next year. So I was curious to understand how that compares to the sales that you've been able to make up until now.
Okay, until now we sell much in between 50K to 20K in different products. The big thing is that the brand is Najha Fashion is not well known in the market. I was not able to invest in marketing or in a website promotions, and I think this is our big issue in the brand awareness in the market. So the projections are based on that. So if we have this projection, for sure we will have much more better results concerning sales and revenues.
Okay, thanks so much for answering my questions.
And that's why our focus on the investment is the marketing part.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Alfredo.
Oh, thanks, Daniela. I think I would just have a very brief comment. I think you have a great advantage from all your expertise in the shoes industry and like working in the factories and knowing all the suppliers. I think it would be good to focus on that strength and create an amazing hero product. Focus on like creating a super amazing pair of shoes. Mm-hmm. They're circular. There has all this identity that you want to create with all these materials they want to bring. So instead of like focusing on the metaverse or the shoes, the size and fit aspects of the website, I think you should focus your energies on trying to get this amazing pair of shoes and this brand. Yeah. I don't know, we have amazing cases like Beja shoes from France. Uh-huh. They created this one pair of sneakers and didn't spend any money in marketing, was all word of mouth, and look at them now, like a huge brand. And I think the same with another brand from Brazil called Cariúma. They have a very strong brand identity, focus on the Amazon, they work with organic cotton. So if I were you, and if I have something to like add to today for your presentation, would be focusing on that product and that like shoe line, and those as Isabelle and Christine said today, like having this very strong proposition. Mm-hmm. and then trying to create your brand up from that. But yeah, I think you have an amazing start point. You have all the knowledge in the shoe industry, which is extremely complex. You know that, like all the fitting, the materials is like extremely complex supply chain. So I'll play in that strength, and also you are in Portugal, which is super well known for the shoe quality, and you have an amazing set of like materials with the cortiça, so it's just I think that's amazing things that you could play around as well.
Yes, thank you, Alfredo.
All right. Yes. Thank you all for your feedback, and thank you, Daniela, for the pitching. So this was the final pitch for tonight. So I hope you liked the event, and I would like to invite everyone to, if you want to connect with each other, like it is a great opportunity. If you want to like continue the conversation offline, you can connect with each other, and I will be sending the contact list of all the attendees in a day or two. And so thank you all for joining, and maybe now like a final very short round table of the board members, if you want to say a few final remarks about the startups or the event. Isabelle, I know you have to leave soon, so maybe if you want to say a few.
I know, sure. I know it's always really interesting to be part of this and to see, you know, all the new businesses and business propositions. And I know and congratulations to everybody, because it's the hardest thing I know in the world. I think I loved Alfredo's really positive sort of kind of suggestions and comments. I'll take that with me as something to think about also when coming back in the future. Because I think apart from sort of saying, you know, or identifying where possible holes are, kind of giving those kind of helpful comments is something which, you know, I think is very important when you've got, you know, industry expertise and, you know, a fresh pair of eyes, which is always good. So anyway, I thought there was some really interesting, all of you have developed some really interesting ideas, and I look forward to connecting offline.
Thank you so much, Isabelle. Thank you for coming, and enjoy the fashion week.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And Christine.
Yes, thanks. It was a great event. Congratulations to the entrepreneurs. You have not easy road, as we all know, but really inspired by seeing what you're doing. Personally love that there's like this connection with many of you to traceability and impact and sustainability and innovation, and love seeing that, you know, it's becoming de facto. We need this in every new brand and every new company that we start. So that's really inspiring to see when you see a lot of negative news stories and weather events. It's good to see that you guys are going in the right direction with your businesses. So good luck, and please stay in touch.
Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you for joining. Alfredo?
Yes, no, thanks so much for having me. I think I've been in your side before a couple of times. I was an entrepreneur for 7 years, so I know exactly how hard is this process. And I think the hardest bit you already done there is start. And I don't know, we are here for like anything. I'm here for anything that you guys need on offline. Just like text me. And yeah, and good luck. The pitches are very interesting. I think there's a lot of like very cool propositions there. I love the sustainability angle there you guys approached as well, and the vision for the products with like bringing technology. And yeah, so very, very excited. And thanks so much, Matilde, for having me.
Thank you so much, Alfredo. So hopefully see you at some next event.
Exactly.
We stay in touch. And Rebecca?
Yes, thanks so much, Matilde, for having me as well. And thanks to the entrepreneurs who pitched today. It was super interesting to hear about your businesses, and also to hear your thoughts on the different questions that we had. I think it's always super fun to learn about what's out there and what people are doing and coming up with. In terms of advice, I think the number one advice I have is really always to take advantage of any opportunity you have to ask questions, to get, you know, advice or recommendations from fellow entrepreneurs, or even in you know, settings like this one. I think that's the beauty of the startup environment, is that people are so much more willing to help each other than in many other industries. And I think that's a really great thing, and that's something that yeah, any founder, entrepreneur shouldn't be scared to take advantage of. So I think that's always great. And of course, events like this help with that as well, and putting people in touch. So yeah, I'm very excited to see where you all are headed, and of course happy to help with anything if you want to connect. So thanks so much for organizing this, Matilde.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. All right, everyone. I wanted to also say that there will be a recording, so you can always have a look on YouTube if you want to see it again, or share it, or they will be there, and I will be including it in my communications tomorrow. So thank you again, everyone. I think it was a really nice event, and yeah, see you at the next one. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Cheers.